Welcome to another edition of the Sabre Spotlight on the Marion Sports Network as we bring in Marion men's head hockey coach Zach Gainer as the Sabres open up their season this weekend, making the trip out east to Adrian and Trine. Coach Gainer, you've gone through a scrimmage and a couple of weeks of practice. Just your thoughts on this year's version of the Sabres so far?
I like it a lot. I've been very, very pleased with the guys this year. A much different dynamic than we had last season. Last season we were led by a lot of seniors. This year it's going to be a good core group from our seniors all the way to our freshmen. Our depth this year is a lot stronger than it was last season, and it showed when we played St. Mary's. We came out, we played great, just still trying to work through our connective X's and O's and our progressions, and we kind of came out a little bit of a slow start. Then once we got the hang of it and guys started to adjust, we dominated play. So it was a great test for us early, and we're looking forward to going to Trine.
You got hired as the head coach last year, pretty late in the process, with Coach Wynn going up to Alaska for a Division I job. But this year, how has the offseason been for you, knowing, number one, that it's your first full offseason as a head coach here,
Yep.
and number two, the Sabres made the NCAA tournament last year as an at-large team, so the Marion profile nationally in Division III hockey was there, but maybe it got raised to a little higher level here this year, knowing that you got an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament?
Oh, 100%. I'll be honest with you. Last year coming in, there wasn't really any nervousness. It was, all right, here's the group I was dealt. Let's go make the best of it. And then now to be able to come in for my second season, to be able to bring in our first recruiting class under Coach Berger and I, a little bit of nervousness there. Now the expectation has been risen that, all right, this team can compete on a national level, and that's the expectation that our guys have set for themselves every year. So for us now, we're trying to continue to move the pieces in that progression and try and teach all of our new guys. We have 11 new faces this year, kind of how we do things the Sabre way and the way we play every night. And I'm very, very excited for this season. I think we can actually do a lot better in certain areas than we did last year.
What do you think the profile is of Marion men's hockey nationally right now?
I think we're kind of a hidden gem. I'll be honest. I think we dropped we dropped a lot, I think, of respect as well. And then when we got to the national tournament, we played the way we did. Having had 2 weeks off and us going there, and it took us 2 periods to figure it out. If we played one more, the game looked dramatically different. But I think at the same time, I think the profile is, all right, you know what? They're now an up-and-coming team. They're a team that we have to take seriously. They're a team that on any given year can be a top 10, or potentially, hopefully, with our goals to get to a Frozen Four. And a team that everybody, including Norbert and Adrian and different teams like that, have to take us seriously. So I'm excited about that. It's been a great progression. It's something that from even when I played all the way through to now, just to see how much better our program's gotten. And we finally got the respect, I hate to say it, but we finally got the respect that we deserve that's probably 8 to 10 years overdue.
It's one of those things, too, where do you think Marion, in some capacity, considering the league that we play in, where, for a good portion of last year, St. Norbert's or Adrian were number 1 or number 2 in the country. Yep. You're always going to be that team, you don't want to say necessarily flying under the radar, but when people look at the NCHA for hockey, it's always going to come up Norbert's and Adrian, where you can put together a squad here as good as anything in the country, but people are always going to look at those teams that have maybe they have trophies in the trophy case.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think that's where there's a little bit of a difference as far as the approach to every game that they take versus us. I think Adrian and Norbert, every team, if they have a bad year but they beat one of those two, it's a great season. Where for us, I don't think we're quite at that level yet where we demand that respect. But at the same time, we're also pushing towards that where teams know, all right, you know what, Marion's a top 3, top 4 team every year. We got to be ready to play and we got to be ready to go. And I think we're slowly inching towards hanging that first banner in our locker room.
You mentioned a lot of leadership graduated and moved on last year. We'll talk about them later on, playing professional hockey all over the world right now. But you do bring back, you mentioned a great nucleus. Let's start in net. Hunter Vorva joined your program last year and was spectacular between the pipes.
Yeah, Hunter, I'm so glad to have him back and to have him for 2 more years. To me, he is an all-conference player. I was a little disappointed last year with how the voting went. For him to play in every single game and to put up the stats that he did to help carry us as far as he did and kind of get the cold shoulder, that bothered me a little bit, and I know it bothered him. And what I'm so excited to see is that he got after it this summer, and he's better now than he was at his height last year. So we're very excited for how that's going to look for us in net. And like you said, our core nucleus of guys coming back, we returned so many key pieces. yeah, we lost an All-American or two, but at the same time, the guys come back. They're 1 year better. They're 1 year stronger. They know what it takes to get to the national tournament. And now it's just putting that key pieces together with our new incoming class and seeing what happens.
Okay, talk about, you mentioned not just Hunter Vorva, also you're pretty deep at goalie this year?
We are, yeah. We have an incoming senior as well, transfer Jack Romanek, transfer from Concordia, Wisconsin. He was their starter there, has been for the last 3 years or so. I recruited Jack when he came out of the Humboldt Broncos. Is where I recruited him from in juniors in Saskatchewan there. And we know exactly what we're going to get, and we're excited. We have a great 1-2 punch. Then with Kerrigan and Maddie there as well, fighting for those spots. And it's great to see that. I've never had 4 goalies before as a coach. It's my first time in 10 years. And to see how well those guys are gelling together and clicking. And they're each other's best friends. And that's what I love about this team and be able to have the privilege to coach this team is how everybody supports one another. It's not me versus you. It's we're all in this. Go do your best. And if you fall short, then I want you to cheer me on too. And I love it.
How about the student athletes directly in front of your goalies this year? You graduated some guys that are playing professional hockey now, but you bring back a nice group of guys defensively as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We returned four defensemen on the back end, and then we have 3 incoming new freshmen as well, and we're excited to kind of sprinkle it in and see how it goes. We lost a lot with Lou on the back end there and with Gianni as well, obviously losing All-American, and I'll be honest, it's tough. I got a little spoiled having Lou as our captain. He was the best captain I've ever had in 10 years, and to have him for only 1 season as a head coach and to lose him hurts. But at the same time, he also paved the way for all of our new seniors this year and our new leadership group to kind of see how things should look, and we're moving in that direction. But yeah, I'm so excited with our core on the back end.
What do you look for from that defensive core? How do you describe them? Are they guys that can score from the blue line? Are they guys that are bruisers defensively? What do you look for from that crew?
We actually have a great mix. To me, that's what I'm excited about. Last year, it was we either were highly skilled or we were rough and tough, where now we have a lot of guys that can do a mix of both. Even with some of our young freshmen that are coming in too, and the guys that came back, everybody got better. We're going to rely on our 2 big cats up front as far as Lane Valmont and Brock Weston to log most of the minutes as they should be an upperclassman. But then you have Sean Brennan and different guys coming back as well in that mix that are also going to compete for those spots too. So for us, it'll be nice. We have guys that can move pucks. We have guys that can shoot. We have guys that can finish. I mean, our game against St. Mary's was the most hitting I've ever seen from a Marion group of D-corps on the back end ever. So it gave me a lot of hope because that was something that we've always been knocked for, is not having that toughness or that size on the back end, and things have changed.
I was kind of surprised, actually, why I went to the scrimmage and caught a period of that before I had to go over to another Marion event, but that was pretty physical for a scrimmage, wasn't it?
It was. I've never played in one that was, or coached one that was that physical. I was shocked, and that was one of the big things at St. Mary's. Bill Moore, their head coach, he called me right after the game and said, "Man, your D-corps has changed so much. They do such a great job of protecting the blue line and not letting us enter." And it's something that for us, we wanted to make that change for. You see like the Norbert team, like a Norbert or an Adrian, 6'3", 6'4", big, heavy defensemen, where for us, we're 6'1", 6'2", but the guys weigh 200 pounds and they can move and they're agile, and at the same time, they're also willing to get their nose dirty. So I think we're trying to kind of mold some of the pieces that we didn't have last year.
How about the forwards this year? Who do you look to put the puck in the net?
I think right out of the gate, it's going to be Montfiles and then our line of Blank, Cross, and Howie. We're going to rely on them quite a bit. They kind of carried the torch for us down the stretch last season, and then they'll be the ones this year as a couple seniors that we're looking to rely on heavy to do their job, and then everybody else hopefully will follow suit and continue to roll into line. But our depth this year, it was interesting. Last year we didn't quite have that depth. This year we have it, and it's making decisions for game nights that much more difficult, which is where we want to be.
The NCHA as a whole this season, we might talk about earlier, St. Norbert, Adrian, teams that people always know they're going to be in the top 5 in the country. But just, we were in the top. Marion was in the top 15th in the initial poll of the season. You have St. Scholastica getting votes. Just top to bottom, what's your take on the NCHA?
It's so good. It's so good. It's we try and pride ourselves on being a top conference. I think, in my opinion, we are. To have 3 teams out of one conference get in the national tournament like we had last year, to see how everybody reloaded and everybody brought back better talent than they lost. This conference is going to make another serious run, and I'm hoping that either it's us or somebody else in our conference earns the right to get that 3rd bid. But you saw like our opening weekend, outside of Concordia or a couple teams here or there, everybody else beat all their non-conference opponents, and that's what we did last year too. So we're really establishing ourselves as the premier division in the West.
This weekend, you open up Friday night against Trine, and then you have Adrian out there as well. Just what do you look to learn, and what do you look to do besides obviously get victories in your first 2 games of the season?
I think for us, a lot of it's just going to be continuing to put together our progressions and our X's and O's. Trine, they coming off a big tie against Point, tying the number 2 team in the country, so they're going to be excited. They're going to have a lot of confidence. So for us, the last time we saw them, we embarrassed them here a little bit, so there's going to be a little revenge factor from that standpoint. So I've been teaching our guys leading up to this whole progression and getting here is to stay calm, stay collected, don't get baited into anything, and then just keep playing through the middle, keep playing smart, and keep shooting pucks. Their goaltender is one of the best in the conference. I think he faced something like 60 shots at Point and only let in 2 goals. So for us, it's going to be just to stay calm, stay collected, don't get upset or frustrated if we don't score, because it's going to come. We just got to continue at it.
Coach is going to ask you before we let you go here, because I know you have to probably get to practice. But you mentioned that senior class last year. We have a good group of guys that signed professional hockey contracts in pretty good leagues, not only here in the United States but overseas. Can I talk about where some of our former Sabres are at?
Yeah, absolutely. Gianni Mangoni and Derek Thorogood, they're both playing in France right now. I wish I could pronounce the team that they play for. A few hyphens in there. But they're doing great. Last I looked, and I spoke with those guys last week, Gianni, I think, in 4 games had 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. Derek had, I think, 3 points in 4 games, and they're adjusting well. It was awesome to have them send some pictures of them at the Eiffel Tower and to be able to go to the Louvre and to travel around and get to use hockey as the catalyst to kind of see the world. And then Hunter Stewart ended up signing with Atlanta. Went to camp. It was a bit of an eye-opener and experience for him. So he's actually right now with Huntsville, back with Derek Pearl. So those 2 are reunited again, which is exciting for them, and he's doing great. So for us, we're really fortunate. For us, we've had a strong history of moving guys onto the pro level, and it hasn't really become recognized until hopefully now. But we've had over 30 guys in the last 12 to 15 years that have moved on to play pro. And it's something that we wish to continue moving forward.
Well, Coach Zach Gaynor, good luck this weekend at Trine and at Adrian. We'll get our first look on the Marion Sports Network on Friday night, November 9th, when Lake Forest comes to the Blue Line Family Ice Center. It should be fun. And if you're looking for more information on Marion men's hockey, just head to SaberAthletics.com. You've been watching a Saber Spotlight on the Marion Sports Network.